So, ladies and gentlemen, whether it's politicians or whether it's Snoop Dogg or whether it's your family members or people at your job or school or whatever, one thing that's for sure is people flip flop. It is what it is. We shouldn't take it too personal. However, we are gonna probably take it personal anyway. How you respond is up to you. How Drake chose to respond, I thought was goofy, but we're gonna get into what Drake response was in a second. First, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe if you like these type of videos. I'm an artist and a podcaster. My name is Mfasis, and I want to talk about this situation here with this Canadian politician who was spotted. He was caught red-handed at a Kendrick Lamar concert. So Kendrick Lamar is on a tour, the Grand National Tour, and there was a stop in Toronto. Kendrick obviously is performing the songs that people want him to perform. He performed Not Like Us. He got a good reaction from the crowd. But somebody in the crowd spotted a politician who's somewhat popular or who's popular in the Canadian political sphere, and they posted this, and this became another embarrassing moment for Drake, because on top of seeing a bunch of people in your homeland have this moment where they're celebrating one of the biggest L's in history, it's also a moment where a politician who once upon a time was trying to be buddy buddy with you is out here hanging out or out here supporting somebody who made you, not even made you, who framed you as a pedophile. So apparently this politician has DM'd Drake over the years. Drake has ignored it, which part of that's kind of Drake's fault in my opinion. I'm gonna get to that in a second, but this politician apparently has DM'd Drake over the years and has basically said, hey, thank you for the follow, and just what that type of political stuff of just trying to shake hands and kiss babies and be cool with somebody who's extremely influential within the Canadian world, within the country of Canada. And Drake didn't respond, but once his picture surfaced, Drake responded to this person and called him a goof. Now, I think this was I'm not a fan of this response. I think this response made Drake look like a goof, to be honest with you. But at the same time, I could see why he's in his feelings. But at the end of the day, I think it was unnecessary. It is what it is. And it's a weird situation because Drake has a habit, like many people, they'll have a habit of ignoring or abandoning people who they may have felt like they didn't need at a certain point, and then years later he might want this person to side with them and they don't. And I'm talking about also YG, because this made me kind of think about the YG situation, if that made sense, where YG, we saw Drake and YG collab in the early 2010s, the early to mid 2010s, when YG was at his peak in popularity. After that, YG kind of cooled off. Drake was never seen around him again, never spoke of him again. But then in the midst of the Kendrick beef years later, he tried to low-key rope YG into it, which I didn't think was a good move. And clearly YG didn't like it either, because YG kind of sneak dissed him in a song and basically said, don't be a person who only calls me when you're in trouble. And I kind of thought about that because of the fact that this politician here, clearly Drake was not, as far as I know, you could tell me if it's different, if something else happened in between 2018 and now, but as far as I know, this politician and Drake has not really gone out of his way to be close to this politician, which is fine. Like, he doesn't have to. But at the same time, Drake shouldn't expect him to be loyal to him, but it is what it is. The politician is copping pleas, though. He's claiming that he just went to the concert for SZA and he still chooses Drake over Kendrick. And even if there is some truth to that, I mean, it's still just an extremely bad look. Even when you see the screenshot of this guy's face, when he peeps somebody out of the corner of his eye, he peeps somebody taking a picture of him. You could see that even with his reaction, that he knows this is not the best look. It's already a bad look that clearly many people in Canada, in Toronto, in that whole region don't really have Drake's back the way California has Kendrick's back. But at the same time, maybe he did go for SZA. But even if you wanted just to see SZA, or you could have watched a live stream, to be honest with you, but I still wanted to just bring up that point of people flip flop all the time, even when you think about Kendrick's side of things, right? Because obviously we're gonna point out the fact that Drake is in his feelings, but there were points in this whole saga where it seemed like Kendrick was low key in his feelings, right? When you think about when Drake dropped the Tailor Made freestyle, where he used the AI voice of Snoop Dogg and the AI voice of Tupac. Tupac initially acknowledged the song. Snoop Dogg's usually gonna just kind of just shout something out, kind of keep it neutral. But then, based on the reaction and also based on rumors that Kendrick felt some type of way, Snoop Dogg came out publicly and he backtracked the same way this Canadian politician did. And again, people do this all the time, even in your real life. I'm sure you could think of scenarios where people just they flip flop. It is what it is. Like most people want to side with whoever they think is winning, not just in battles, but just in life. Like people, when you're struggling, when you're trying to make a comeback, when you're trying to figure something out, people do not want to be by your side. As much as people want to pretend like they like underdog stories, people do not like underdog stories. They like success stories. If they like success stories where you just so happen to be the underdog earlier on in the journey. They're not trying to be by your side when you're down and out. But again, I don't want people to only think that this sort of in your feelings moment is one-sided, to be honest with you, because even though I think Drake deserves to be clowned for this reaction, because I think this was, in my opinion, this was pathetic and unnecessary, but it's not just him. Like, there were reports from DJ Academics where he's claiming that Dave Free, Kendrick's right-hand man, approached him and was talking about how he was about to crash out on Academics. Like, regardless of how you guys feel about Academics, he's just a blogger. And Dave Free, Kendrick's right-hand man, is contemplating crashing out. In my opinion, I do believe that that was done because Kendrick wanted him to do it. And if don't get mad at me for assuming that, get mad at Ray Vaughn. For y'all that remember when Joey Badass and Ray Vaughn were throwing diss tracks at each other a few weeks ago in the Royal Rumble, at one point Joey said that you probably don't have Kendrick's number, you probably can't even get in touch with him. And Ray Vaughn's response was, of course I have his number. Who do you think ordered the hit? Now, once Ray Vaughn said that, at that point I said, okay, at any point, if something happens where this TDE camp lashes out at people, whether it's Ab Soul lashing out or Ray Vaughn or Daylight or whoever, I'm gonna assume that Kendrick was in his feelings and put a battery in their back to do it. Doesn't matter if there's no proof of it or not, because I know people like to look at these TDE artists as if they're just so much cooler than everybody else, but at the end of the day, these are still Hollywood people, guys. Like they are just as likely to be in their feelings and do something petty like that as somebody like Drake is. They're just not as dumb as Drake to make it undeniably they're not as dumb as Drake to just completely put it out in the public like that. That's just my opinion, though. Either way, I'm pretty sure this politician will listen to some more Kendrick. I don't think the politician cares. Like, bro, he's just trying to keep his votes. Like, he is not worried about actually maintaining a genuine friendship with Drake, and I'm sure Drake doesn't care either. Let me know. Actually, don't let me know. I'm out.